It's the 25th of the 6th, 2022, and the ongoing saga and developments of wrongdoings that I'm awaiting since 2017 to be addressed have not come into fruition. What has happened on a day-to-day basis, as I keep reiterating, as an avatar, the body of light that I have been born with and that I have had a spiritual experience in, progressing and evolving with, has been impinged and intruded upon by frauds and incompetent human beings that haven't been smart or intelligent enough to fix or repair the problems they're making. So they've been spreading themselves thin instead, and they've just been going against all codes of behaviour. And unfortunately, the policies with regard to the developments that came around and about as a consequence of my purpose as a spiritual sentient being, a purpose I was born with. It's my birthright. And there have been a malicious, juvenile, disruptive, discontent, incompetent collective in County Kerry in the southwest of Ireland that just cannot stop making problems in society. It is ASBO in big, bold letters. So their level of competency and capability to be fit for society is questionable. They've offended the Constitution, and they've offended all codes of practice, codes of behaviour. Now, and they have intruded upon that role that I hold as well, and they have done so without impunity and without any shame, guilt, or remorse. And there have been politicians assisting this charade, which is quite disgusting as well, and it would just turn anybody off ever. As I've said in previous uploads, you wouldn't want to touch the characters' work that have done this to my son. These people have no credibility, and they have manipulated this circumstance with artificial intelligence, and Neffet is fully aware of this circumstance. As I've mentioned, I was born a spiritual sentient being. Some people would call me an angel, some people would call me an avatar, some people would call me a light worker. But I have a very important spiritual purpose, and it has come to fruition since I commenced and continued and did what I did, especially in 2018 in this country. So the artificial intelligence issue comes about with regard to the people that have been of information hacking in this country. Now, they've been of financial fraud, they've been of hacking into systems, and they've been of huge offences against the state. And basically the issue of their other offences to women and children's rights have been duly noted and documented and dealt with, and there's a phase coming to pass that is of retribution to and for these people that have been incompetent and unfit for society since 2006, and that are still liabilities in society, unfortunately, and aren't in any position of power with the problems that they're causing, imposing, impinging, etc., and intruding. They've disrespected the powers that be. They have awful track records, and they have been of theft from my royalties and my entitlements. There's huge property theft going on in County Kerry, and there are people living, as I've said, off my wealth and my property portfolio, and they have been of creative intellectual theft, and they're very smart people apparently, but unfortunately the smarts that they have shown and proven to be quite disingenuous with other people that they've been insulting and offending. They've been blaspheming against many faiths, and that's a problem as well. And they've been imposing on other people's families also. So there's an issue with these people in society. that have a pathetic little point of view that the collective mentality, the herd mentality, is going to get them out of jail, pandering to people's power places and positions, and not paying their way basically, and dodging the bullet since 2006, since they caused awful defamation to my good name. So I have a clean track record. And as I've mentioned, there have been developments of artificial intelligence in this community that have been for the acquisition of information illegally. Now, there are individuals that have been broadcasting this throughout society in the environment that I'm living in County Kerry, my hometown. Now, the individuals that are associating themselves with this development do not have any protocol or process of procedures that would be to authenticate. They haven't abided by any of those. They've disrespected bodily integrity, and they've disrespected the laws that be with regard to these kind of developments throughout this community. So this issue that has been highlighted, that is exposing people's privacy, it has exposed my privacy. The architects of this artificial intelligent initiative by these incompetent human beings that owe me debt since 2006 and that are offenders against the state are liabilities unto themselves, and they have no legality to associate themselves or their identity with mine. Not only is it treason and blasphemy, it's an offence against the state, and it's a humanitarian offence as well, an offence against humanity. So these people have not got the kudos as they'd like to describe it. They don't get the kudos with regard to the initiatives they've been developing that are illegal, and accessing people's privacy and personal space and publicising people's information and damaging people's health and well-being and bodily integrity, etc., and changing the policies to suit themselves, etc., isn't exactly a very fortuitous, prosperous initiative for any dirty politicians to be supporting, especially when those politicians owe this person such a huge debt and they haven't respected that. So unfortunately, they have disrespected my child and I. Women and children's rights have been disrespected, and the role of artificial intelligence and the illegal developments, the unlawful developments, the unstandardized developments, etc., are really not plausible, not at all in a position of worthy reward. The role of artificial intelligence is for truth and justice, and I have experienced injustice. I'm, as I said, a social reformer, educator, mother, property owner of 2 beautiful farms that are subject to fraud, a missing child, and etc. And artificial intelligence represents the principles of truth and justice, and there are absolute incompetent, unfit individuals in Tralee, County Kerry, that are driving around the place, walking around the place, fully aware of the reality, and they're just entertaining a foolish fiasco. It's really silly what's going on. It's insulting to anyone's IQ when the truth is common knowledge. But those that are associating their names to my identity are not in a safe position about this either. Those that have been publicising my personal space and publicising my personal information, Thought Police, I hate to tell you, you're out of place with the fellowship. My fellowship doesn't tolerate Thought Police of little people that can't do their jobs properly. So there's a huge problem going on when dirty politics is dirtying the streets for the young people of the future. Insulting an innocent mother, and COVID having arisen from my work in 2019, that's another very serious issue that they have disrespected, and I think the UK is fully aware of the circumstances around this matter, the reality of the situation. There's been, as I've said, a lot of problems caused with racketeering and hacking, and it's just been awful. So there's a repeat episode going on with this cycle of fraud that's occurring, and it's 2022, and the United Nations is fully aware of how despicable and disgusting the circumstances with disrespect to women and children's rights during COVID. It's absolutely inexcusable that the COVID-19 initiative originated here with this person, and I'm experiencing the insanity of people that aren't even equipped to own their own identity, that they have to impose upon mine and my child and our homestead and our farms. It's really unsafe what's happened. So I hope the United Nations is taking on board how dangerous a circumstance these liabilities have been causing since 2006. They aren't of good academic stead. Their academic research and their entanglements with my personal experience as an avatar, as an educator, etc., those of that thought or ideology or philosophy of having harmonized or synchronized, or of a new age or a new concept with society, that have represented their ideas formally as academics, are in contempt also. They are repeat offenders and have supported violence against women and children's rights, and that isn't a cause that's able to be supported at all when it's not legally condoned by the individual who they are inadvertently appropriating the information about. So those that aren't able to do their jobs properly might be reminded of the consequences that have already occurred, and the weight and the burden and the cross of this entire situation with disrespect to women and children. It's very dangerous what these social influencers have done in this community since 2006. So those that are in my proximity disturbing the peace and false reporting and exacerbating their offences, thinking they're getting out of jail with the debt that they owe me, and think they're walking onto my land and withholding my child from me. I want everyone to be very aware that as an avatar, there's a very dangerous circumstance with regard to what these social influencers and liabilities have done, discussing my privacy and personal life. There's faiths they have been blaspheming. So I hope the guards and the government are fully aware of the reality and the right side of the fence and the wrong side of the fence, and the issue of individuals disrespecting my matrimony of the 30th of the 3rd, 2015. That is not subject to change. I'm still a married mom. And my lawful husband, my only lawful husband, and I, Richard McElligott, 29th of the 12th, 1981, who has been subject to identity theft as well. Our only son is a missing person. So those people that have been pandering and playing Russian roulette, I'm concerned. There's a dangerous game going on with social influencers in Tralee, County Kerry, that have caused hate crime and defamation against my good name. And as I'm of humanitarian protection and I'm of royal blood, I really hope everyone's got a firm reality of the circumstances. So COVID-19's been disrespected, and that's another issue I take exception to. So I'd appreciate those that have been repeating the cycle of insanity with wrongdoings and defamation, etc., against my good name and good character and good reputation, my good work and my good contributions to society. I'd appreciate those people that have been insane enough to perpetuate this fiasco to get some mental health assistance. It might be of help. And in the meantime, I'm awaiting the United Nations to find my child for me. Seems the government of Ireland has refused to respect its seats in the Dáil. It's a sad sign of the times.